Welcome back to What Would You Ask podcast. My next guest, I was telling Eric and Ryan off camera, one of my favorite episodes. I just like getting like surprised, right? Like, give me something. I mean, I like the scrub daddy, you got to have it, but I mean, it's a freaking scrub, it's a sponge or whatever. Give me something, inventive. And then these guys come out with a shoe that I can get all these interchangeable things, and I end up getting this and that, and I end up with 4 different looks. Pretty solid. I mean, that's pretty solid. And then the whole key is this whole coronavirus thing has freaked me out because I have 4 kids. You guys know this. I don't want anybody walking with their shoes in my house. Out. And I didn't even think about it the old days. As an Italian, my mother and my grandmother and, the whole family would be like, take your shoes off. We don't like nothing on because we had the plastic on the furniture and shit. Like, what in the hell? Now, you go right to the slippers. Who's better? I want everybody in my whole family. Everybody's getting these for Christmas. That's it. Take your shoes off. Leave your soles at the door. You know what I mean? Your soul. I love that. These guys obviously were on ABC hit show Shark Tank, season 11, episode 18. I'm glad we have the episode still in there. And they are the founders, inventors, creators, big bosses with Muvez. You guys remember that, right? New concept in footwear. It's a 2-in-1 indoor-outdoor slipper shoe combination, removable soles, functionality. I love it. Athletic shoes with the convenience of casual house slippers. All about it. Eric and Ryan Cruz, welcome to What Would You Ask podcast. I'm glad you guys are here.
Yeah, thank you. Good to be here.
So tell us a little bit about the origin. How was this created? Tell us a little bit how all this started.
Yeah, so it was actually started from a college project of mine. It was my senior thesis, and it was to make a product that you could see out in the market. So, it could be anything. So I started, thinking about things and looking around my house and, things that I could change and make better. So I saw the, that whole socks and slide thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You're an athlete, you just slip right after you get out of your cleats or your basketball shoes, you slip on your slides with the socks, and it's comfortable, but like you can't really go out in it. You can't go to a restaurant or, so I thought, how could I make that comfort, but also add in a style aspect of it where you could be presented in it, but still be as comfortable as you are because you're in your slippers. So I presented that as my senior thesis. I did the 3D drawings, I did the 3D model, all that.
Created a miniature prototype too.
Yeah, I created a miniature prototype just to make sure the concept worked. And when I presented it, the professor was impressed with the functionality, but said that there probably wasn't a market for that out here. And it was a couple of years ago. So I understood, he just wasn't ready for it. So, I passed through, I did pass. So that's all that matters.
There you go.
Barely. Yeah. And then my brother was a part of the whole thing because, he was really behind the idea. He liked it. And then when we were after college and stuff, we started, the whole corporate America thing. But we always had that idea of, hey, man, that could really work. That idea you had could really work. So when we saw a overseas competitor slightly doing a similar thing and being successful at it, we thought, you know what, man, let's just give it a try, because we don't want to be, 50 years old and say, what if we did it? So we don't want to live with regrets. We jumped in and we did it. And so far it's been amazing.
That's so cool. That's such a great story. Tell us where Shark Tank comes in that timeline. I'm sure by the time you guys have the prototype, you're creating, as the Shark Tank sharks would say, you're creating a business, not just a product. Tell us where the thoughts are. I'm sure your family and friends have been saying, you guys got to get this on Shark Tank.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. So where does it come a real viable option for you guys?
Well, we introduced the product into the market December of 2018, so really January 2019. I would say June of 2019. They were auditioning for season 11. We felt this was the best time to maybe gain a submission or at least interest. So we filmed the audition video, we sent it to Shark Tank, and they responded relatively quickly with considerable interest. So, we thought that there was real potential, real possibility to make this happen. So we quickly started figuring out, we had to generate sales. At that point, we were only 5 or 6 months in business. We probably only amassed about $35,000 in sales. And I didn't want to blow an opportunity of this magnitude without having viable sales, because I knew that I would be laughed right off the stage if I came in with 35,000. There's no way I would be taken seriously, and this business would not have been taken seriously. I wanted to make sure I optimize this opportunity, because this is a once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
So, inherently, my position in the company is more of the business relation, the business management matters, and Ryan's a creator. So, I just instinctively, okay, how can I create value, profitability, revenue? How can I generate revenue in the shortest amount of time with the limited ad budget? So I looked into Kickstarter. That was the most plausible avenue that we can pursue. We can generate revenue within maybe 2 months, and whatever I generate, I can compound that with current sales, and it's going to be better than what I'm selling now. So, we did our due diligence. We interviewed a few Kickstarter agencies to help us create a campaign, that would generate the revenue that we needed. So we had about a 42-day campaign. It culminated, it was odd, like timing and fate and destiny are all intertwined in our story. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs would say the same thing. We had taped the episode in September, and 24 hours before we taped was when our campaign ended. And that was not like part of the plan. I just chose that day just because I didn't want to extend past 42 days of the research that I had done. And, you have to do your homework as well. So, campaign will promote Kickstarter will promote campaigns that are trending well, and you want to meet your goal within the first 10 days. So you have to make sure that you have a pre-order list and a pool of people that are ready and willing to support you, so that they can promote your campaign and it won't be buried or indexed. You want to make sure that you have enough traffic. So we didn't want to make it too long. It was 42 days, I believe it was. We had to close the day before, so we were able to walk in onto the Shark Tank stage ready for taping with about $85,000 in sales. So we had amassed about $32,000 within that 40-day period. We did some wholesale accounts. We partnered with Touch of Modern a few times during 2019, and we had some wholesale accounts. So we were able to combine all streams of revenue and package it into $85,000. And that really kind of set the tone, the narrative for the conversation, and we can be taken seriously as a viable business. So, maybe 5 months in, but we weren't going to not take the opportunity. You just have to be creative.
Yeah. You're not going to turn them down, even though you might be a little bit, earlier at the inception. Still, you don't want to just turn those guys down. It's too big of an opportunity. I mean, it's a 8-10 minute commercial anyway, right? Even if you don't walk out of there with the deal, so you get beat up a little bit. Who cares? I mean, that's what's going to happen. The other thing is, with your space and your vertical, it's such an unbelievable competitive market that even if they dumped on you, people are going to be going, that's new, right? That's creative. You're going to get tons of feedback from investors, I can even probably from shoe companies, I would imagine. I mean, that if so we'll get to the Shark Tank effect in a little bit. I want to get to some of the questions from the viewers and listeners. Tony from Staten Island. Hey, Tony from Staten Island. What do you say, Tony? Tony wants to know if you went in with a specific, and I can do that, folks, by the way. Don't go writing me saying, oh, you make fun of the Italians. I'm a Paisan. I can do that. I can do that.
I can't do that.
Tony from, yeah. Maybe it's a Polish person or German. You can go, why are you doing that? You're Italian. Yeah. But it's Tony from Staten Island. What do you want me to do? Avoid that? Hey, it's Tony from Staten Island. Let me have your question. I think you have to. Tony would tell me to say he's Tony from Staten Island. Come on. All right. Anyway, back to Ryan and to Eric. He wants to know, did you have a specific shark in mind as you made your way or prior to going into the tank to cut a deal with?
Yeah, I think that goes generally without saying. We knew that Daymond had a notorious reputation in the apparel industry, so we pretty much targeted him. We thought that our footwear brand would really complement his existing portfolio. We watched as loyal fans of Shark Tank, so we understood the companies that he would invest in. So he was probably most prone to investing in us. And then Lori, Lori with the Her Dynamic QVC platform, we felt like we can touch millions of Americans with, one of these infomercials that she's notoriously known for. So we were zeroed in on both those sharks. Ultimately we would appreciate any shark interest. We're big NBA fans, so we know about Mark Cuban and we know Rob Herzevec's story, and we appreciate Mr. Wonderful's discipline and, we would have been grateful for anyone, but we definitely had zeroed in Daymond just because of the complementary portfolio, and then Lori, just with her from what we knew and people that we've spoken to that were familiar with the show, she's very hands-on. She wants to succeed and she'll help in any way that she can. So, I mean, much like Daymond. So that's why we thought them two would be the best fit for us. It was just unfortunate, Daymond threw under a bus.
He did.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a second. Scott from Phoenix, Arizona wants to know, guys, if I can ask a technical question, how difficult is it to pull the heel off? Oh, I get what he's saying.
Sure.
And does it stay on when you're doing physical activity, is Scott's question.
Yeah, so we kind of explained it in the show, and I kind of demonstrated it on the show you could walk, you could run, you could jump, and it's going to stay on tight. I ran full speed. You can run full speed in those, and they don't come off. But yeah, so they don't fall off, and taking them off isn't hard because you're able to use your opposite foot to step on the heel and pop out of it. So you kind of hold one part and you pop out using your body weight.
And we also have videos in the event that there's still clarification needed. Just visit our website or our Instagram page. There's a little Shorby link on the bottom, and there's tutorials that show how to maintain in terms of like maintenance and cleaning, and how to remove and enter.
That's so cool. These guys were impressed, right? The Sharks were impressed by the shoe itself, right? The flexibility and the technology. You had, I think, Robert, I think it was Kevin try them on, right? On the show, or was it?
Yeah, we actually were able to get all three on there. We got Mr. Wonderful, we got Robert up there, and even Mark joined.
Did we see that on TV? I don't remember Mark.
Yeah, I was shoulder to shoulder with him.
Mark did really well. Mark did it right away. Like, he knew exactly how to do it. Robert needed some help, and Mr. Wonderful, complimented it right away. So they're super comfortable.
Yeah, any compliment, you got to have that on like a reel somewhere, because he doesn't. If it's not good, he'll tell you that right there. He doesn't care. You know that. So
that sounds really like cool. Is my alarm clock. So
that's really cool. So tell us a little bit about, there's a bunch of questions that were sent in about the editing, right? We see you guys on there from 8 to 12 minutes, somewhere in that range. You're in there from roughly an hour, maybe an hour and a half, maybe 45 minutes. Tell us about when you're doing your pitch and the Q&A, where was the focus and what did we miss within the short frame of time that we got to see?
Well, we were up there for about 45 minutes to an hour. It's really hard to say exactly just because you're in this space where time is not present.
Were there longer negotiations on the technical aspects of the shoe, or was it more about the value? I know that one of the things I watched the show 6 or 7 times in preparation for this, but one of the things that they were talking about was the consumer education needed, right? For it to be, so it's demonstrative, right? I mean, that's what we were basically saying. Did that kind of go back and forth? Did you guys have to handle that, or at least try to squelch that objection?
Yeah, well, Robert had brought that to our attention relatively quickly in respect to our marketing direction and our pursuit of NFL or professional athletes and leveraging their platform to educate consumers and to drive sales. That, in our defense, that was taped, 5 minutes into the business. And at that period, I was going to leverage my contacts from the NBA. I was working with the Brooklyn Nets for a stint. And we were having these conversations with an NFL team in particular, some basketball players, like in Galloway. And we were finding that these players really appreciated the comfort and the innovation and were quick adapters. All they would require is a free pair, and they were willing to set aside their slides. So that was kind of like our fastest way to entry. But over time, we then quickly understood how America and international really appreciate innovation. And now our objective and mission is to be in every home in America, rather than just singular paying attention to sports and athletics. Yeah. So that was a really important conversation.
What we try to do as well while we were there is there was 3 of us, so we were able to kind of divide the room and take on the Sharks individually. So I was on the right side of the room. I had Robert and Lori. Eric was on the left side. He had Mark and Daymond. Mr. Wonderful was kind of just in the middle, so we were able to kind of field questions separately. So I was hearing questions they were asking Eric as I was answering questions. So it was kind of a battlefield for a little while, but it was, it was good. And we learned a lot from the experience.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that idea.
Yeah.
I mean,
you have to understand all these sharks have their own interests, their own intent, and their own ego. You don't want to have them feel like they're being misrepresented or they're not being heard. So, you try your best to fire some quick responses and let them know that you heard the question, that you're going to get back to it. Just, quickly let me finish up. And so editing doesn't show you just like the barrage of questions that are happening all at once. But if you're able to divide the room, like Ryan said, it makes it a lot easier. And Mark Cuban really pretty much sets a tone for how things are going to go. If he likes you, he's a fan of the product, you have an easier time at it. If you come in there without knowing your numbers, and he can read right through your inauthenticity, and he thinks that you're here just for the media, he'll rip you, and then it's pretty much over. It's a wrap for you.
Yeah, it's so true. And I've learned through this series that we've been doing, we thought would take, usually most of the series have taken us about a month to 6 weeks. Shark Tank, we're doing other series as we do, because it's gone on for 3 months now. So we just keep doing it. And I've learned through this that Mark and Kevin are very good friends, and they do some speaking together. And if you go to YouTube, you'll see a bunch of the stuff that they've done together. And I've always thought that's interesting, because those are the two kind of alpha males, right?
Yeah.
It's Kevin's show. Everybody knows it's Kevin's show. He sits in the middle. He's the boss. And then you got this Cuban guy that comes on in season 2. And all of a sudden he's like, hold on a second. And he's giving shot clock, and people are looking down at him like, what are you doing? You don't want to talk to us. No, they're not. No, you don't. And he doesn't care. It's just like, you can't do that. And he's like, yeah, I can. Watch me. It's like crazy.
Yeah, he's above the law.
Yes, that's exactly right. But you're right. He does set the tone in there. It's interesting. It segues perfectly to Stephanie's question from Chicago, Illinois. She wants to know what kind of back and forth. She calls it a rapid fire. And she says we know from the podcast that it is just that. It's not only them firing questions at you guys, it's the crosstalk they do back and forth with their own opinions to each other. And you guys make a really good point about these guys being icons of the industry. When they ask a question, they're not usually in real life waiting for answers, right? The answer is immediate. So if you're not giving them that kind of stuff, it really, really pisses them off. I mean, it's just the way it is. Do you hear do you hear what I asked you? Or I've already given you an offer. Why are you still, they just are totally offended. Tell us a little bit about what we didn't see, or what you've experienced when it comes to that firing squad. Is it that, I love the way you guys separated kind of the room. That's a real smart philosophy, but was it still difficult or no?
It definitely was difficult. I mean, I had to take on 2 to 3 at a time sometimes, but just trying to be respectful as possible. Luckily, we were raised to be respectful. So if I can just get a second and say, well, let me answer that. Let me just, and just kind of navigate the best we could. Yeah.
I heard Robert Herzevec also has a strategy, and this is just, I'll give you a secret, folks that are listening. He'll actually call out a entrepreneur by name. So you guys go in and say, hey, it's, I know you had 3 of you guys, but Ryan and I'm Eric. Well, if Eric is doing all the talking and Ryan's not, Robert will say, hey, Ryan, what is the distribution plan?
Yeah.
And he doesn't care if you were supposed to talk about distribution or not. He's asking you. You're not going to go, well, Eric, do you want to answer that? You know what I mean? You got to just handle it. And he says what he finds a lot of times is there is kind of one spokesperson. And then the businesses that he invests in, you can shoot it to either guy, or as many as there are, and they all know the same song, right? They are all on the same sheet of music. And he said, that's impressive when they all know the plan, they all know the history, and then where they're heading. He said that in an interview with Inc. magazine. But I thought it was interesting that he said, yeah, I just call up people by names. I'm invested in the team. I got to know that they know their stuff, So anyway, let's talk about what happens is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, Kevin, and Robert kind of go out on that whole, I don't know if it was just around the demonstrative angle, but they just felt it was too risky to invest in. I think they just don't, I know from Mark's point of view, it's freaking, gym shoes or sneakers or whatever you want to call it. It's tough. And although it looks great, I don't know if I want to be the guy to take that chance. I'll take a chance in 2 years when these guys are doing something. Early on, it's kind of scary. And then Lori's she likes it. Daymond likes it. And not many people say to Lori, I don't need her. And he said, absolutely not. I mean, he just said, I think one of you guys asked him, could you guys go together? He said, absolutely not. And she was like, what did you say? Just
taken back by it, right?
Yeah. How was that? How did that play off live in the studio? Was it a little bit of back and forth between them, or did she just blow it off?
No, that was pretty much how it went.
Oh,
how it
okay.
went down. Yeah, we were trying to pair them together. We thought that they both carry such diverse skill sets that if we were able to combine their firepower together, we would be a serious contender within the footwear space. And Daymond's response surprised us. We didn't expect him to say that. But I guess that was just a credit to how confident he was in his ability to continue helping us create something special. But yeah, I mean, what you saw on television was the exact reaction without abbreviation, how it really went down.
You guys seem to be like his idea of the licensing deal. I mean, you weren't pushing back on it. Seemed like the way to go. And I think that might be one reason why he doesn't want to be, I don't ever want to say Lori's a distraction. She's awesome at what she does in retail and QVC and all. She's not, by the way, she's not just QVC anymore. She's got retail, places that have the Lori Grenier section in retail for her. So she's an icon when it comes to that. But I can understand when Daymond's saying, look, if I'm licensing this, I really don't need her. Right. And he knows it. Kevin's very good at that too. Was that one of the impetuses for you guys to go with Daymond for the licensing part?
Yeah. We were a bit more interested in the inbound licensing, which is, the slower grind where we're acquiring licensing and then we're placing their logos on our footwear and then still really controlling how it's marketed and distribution. Yeah. Our interest is doing this for another 3 to 5 or however long it takes until we feel satisfied, which could be never. We don't really have a time, a set time period. The outbound is also interesting, but there are certain caveats to both. Outbound, we're not sure, in terms of the arrangement or the agreement with a particular brand, how involved we would be. Are we still controlling the messaging? Are we controlling the creative, distribution? So, we're very hands-on because we're co-founders. So that's how we operate. But, we are willing to listen to deals, which we've already heard. We have plans to listen to more in the future. But both licensing are very viable options, just two very different avenues.
Absolutely. Tell me a little bit about this being your baby. And I know that could be comical. Somebody comes up and says, I'm going to give you $5 million for this thing. And you go, well, I didn't like babies anyway, but you know what I mean? But my point is, I'm thinking about this and Ryan's, created this thing and you jump right in, Eric, and you guys have been doing this for a while and it is your baby. I mean, you took it to Kickstarter and you were successful and you took it the tank and you were successful. And all of a sudden, even if you license it and get even if you got $5 million, quite frankly, and then you watch it turn into a 20, 30, 40, $50 million company, you go, hey, listen, I'm happy for it. But then, you're saying that out in public and then, you're hitting the head with a hammer because you go, I don't know. It's still my baby. There's like that unknown that keeps you driving. Plus, you could be doing the 9 to 5 too and punching a clock somewhere. You're building something. When you wake up every day, it's got to be exciting. What are we doing today? Who are we meeting with today? What phone calls do we have to make? What new lines are we doing? That kind of stuff would be driving me all day. I mean, not that I mind you guys, but this little gig isn't exactly, Anyway, tell me a little bit about that. That's part of it too, right? We're building something here and I love what I do. I'm not saying I wouldn't exit for a huge check, but that's why inbound is even attractive. Let's go the NBA route. Let's go the college route. Put UConn, stuff together. The UConn fans are. They'll be back in a couple of years.
Rutgers.
There you go, Rutgers. So tell us a little bit about that. I mean, you're building this, right? And the goal right now is to let's hang out a little bit, see where we can go. Fair enough?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's really hard to, really put a quantitative measure in terms of value. I honestly believe that we're very undervalued even currently. We're on the trajectory of exponential growth. So it's hard for me to determine how much that's worth. I mean, we know we can evaluate according to sales and growth and our 12-month plan and all that. But in reality, we don't really have a firm understanding of customer demand because we're still in this growth phase. We haven't really plateaued yet. So who knows where this could go? And, to your question and in terms of, is this fun? Like I'll stop doing this when it's no longer fun, when it feels like a job. Because I know what a job feels like. We both know what jobs feels like. And they're not exactly fulfilling if you don't have a passion and drive for what you're doing. So the minute that this is no longer fun, I don't jump out of bed ready to go to work. I don't even brush my teeth sometimes. I just wake up and I'm behind this computer without breakfast, without walking the dog, just right to work. When I feel like that's becoming a hassle for me and I'm beginning to dread this routine that I've created, I think that's when I have to look myself in the mirror and figure out how much longer, we can sustain and endure. But I'm having still a great deal of fun doing it. I can't really imagine doing anything else right now. This is what I want to be doing. This won't be our life's work, but this is certainly going to get us to the table. We feel like this is the very beginning for us as we're only in our early 30s. We have a lot more creating to do. And in terms of product line, like we've only released one product.
Yeah, that's the exciting part really, is that we don't expect to just be selling the same model, for years and years and years. We definitely want to continue to adapt and innovate the product, to different avenues too. There's so many applications you could do with the technology that we've created. So, really, we feel like right now it's just the beginning, sky's the limit, and we're just ready to and excited for what the future holds.
So a couple things. A-Rod said the same thing when he was a Yankee. When it feels like a job, I'm going to get rid of it. You should have thought about that earlier, A-Rod. I wanted you out of New York. I love you as a businessman, though. That's number one. Number two is you guys, $20K for 25,000. I know you guys are still in negotiation with Daymond, so we don't have to touch that discussion. But 200K for 25, and you get Daymond John, and you walked in with 200 for 20, right?
200 for 15.
Yeah.
Oh, was it 15? Okay. I thought I had somebody put down 20 here.
That's okay.
It's close.
Yeah. You think you can get it right since you don't have too much to do, but all right, I get it. Why you don't. Holy cow. It's amazing. 200 for 25. Then you got Daymond John though. That's the guy, right? That is just the guy. So tell us a little bit about what you've, and we don't need the details of it, obviously, because you're in negotiation, but are you going back through what we call on this show the Shark Tank Bible and filling them with all necessary information to do thorough due diligence on you guys at this current time? Is that what you have to go through?
Not currently. We did due diligence right after we struck a commitment on the show. They had assigned their account manager, and we had submitted tax returns and financials, and we were forthcoming with what we had stated on the show was reflective, to our financials. So, right now it's just pretty much like routine updates on sales, conversions, where we are in unique visitors, areas we can feel like we can optimize. There's a lot of optimizing to do. We're releasing a brand new homepage, a design layout, a new product experience that's going to make it really easy for the consumer to quickly, easily navigate throughout the website, make everything really condensed because everyone's really converging to mobile. So, just like subtle things that we can do in terms of experience and then creating, new products.
Cool.
We're only, on the precipice really of what this innovation can really do. And Ryan had mentioned the applications and industries that we can enter. So there's really isn't too much due diligence right now. It's kind of strategy. What does 2021 look like? Is COVID still here? How do we work around that? And, is there opportunity, which we're exploring now, for not only drop shipping, but for international consumerism? Central America is certainly interested. We have several different countries that would like to carry our product, but we want to be strategic. We want to be disciplined. We're not looking to flood the market with our product. We want to make sure that the partnerships are reflective to who we are, what we stand for, brand narrative. That the brand equity, the value is really what determines how we move.
So smart, guys. So smart. You just got the lure of the mighty dollar, and I got a little Kevin O'Leary in me myself, right? My father was a fireman and then fire chief, and he's like, "Hey, Nick, you can make $85,000 to $90,000, as a fireman for the rest of your life." And I'm like, "Oh my God!" At the time he said that, I was 22. I was making more, double that in New York City, selling, as a salesman, and I realized I'm not going to apologize for being motivated by earning money. And I've had a few situations in my life where the carrot was hung with a lot of money to move to another position and all this other stuff. and I'm really tough for me. And so I know with you guys, what you have this, and to control it and use that discipline, right? And just, as you just said, Eric, is, we want to be strategic with this. We don't want to just answer every call with, because there's money, we can go here and we can make this, or we can do this and we can do that. It's really disciplined that you guys are getting this done. And it's really cool to hear, to be honest with you. Alex from Naples, Florida asks, any behind the scenes anecdotes or memorable moments in your time with the tank?
And
maybe when I was up there before, thankfully they didn't add this to the edit, but they tell you when they count down, they say 3, 2, 1, you got to start. And I was the first one to talk, but when they say 3, 2, 1, I was still like almost frozen, and I was still shocked that I'm there. And it took me a while to get going, but once it hit me, oh man, it's time. It's go time. I got those first words out, thank God.
Yeah. And I had an impulse as an older brother to like tap him and let him know, like, yo, like, you're up. But then I feel like that would be really noticeable, so I just like bit my lip, and I'm like, he'll figure it out. Yeah, he'll get it.
And you just went smooth after that, like you hit it on.
Yeah, it was smooth after that.
Because I was going to say, you guys were pretty good. I mean, for 3 guys. There wasn't a lot of stepping on each other. You guys were like on, you know what I mean? And then the Q&A, you can tell your energy even went up. I mean, it's like anything else, right? You have to remember all this stuff. It's like we're step in, who says what. And then the Q&A, you kind of like take a breath and go, all right, fire away. We're ready for you. You guys had a lot of confidence. It was really cool to see. By the way, Alex had one in parentheses. Do you guys anticipate making these in high top? That's what he just wanted to know.
Wow.
That's
on to us.
Yeah, it's definitely in the works. It's currently in the works.
All right. Hey, Alex, nice job, buddy. Maybe you could, hire.
If you have any ideas, Alex, send us an email. We'd love to look at your sketches if you're a designer or creator.
Alex, go to their website, Muvez. I was there, .co, MUVEZ.co. I was there last night. My wife was checking it out. I didn't know. Did you guys have women's on the show?
No, we didn't get.
Okay, because I didn't know that, so I went to your site last night, and my wife was like, "Wait a minute, I could just do." And I'm like, "You're not gonna. You gotta remember what I said about the choice. You're not gonna have a choice. You're gonna have to kick your souls in them."
Yeah, no.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
Let's talk about the Shark Tank effect. So, first of all, let me ask you this: were you fearful at all that your deal's not done, and that making a difference on whether you air or not? Because there are entrepreneurs I've talked to who were like, I thought we were trying to get this done because, before we air, and then they said you're going to air. And I'm like, oh my God, does that mean I'm not going to deal? Is that still a concern?
No longer. Once we were green lit in March, and then we had aired in April.
Yeah.
We were pretty confident that, whether we were going to strike the deal or not, we had believed that it was really the network's decision ultimately to air us or not. It was really
that's true.
Of the investor. So, obviously, we were always encouraged and enthusiastic to close, but we didn't feel pressure from Daymond or his team or the network to close. So we had a better understanding that if the network greenlit us, really it was their call if we did close or didn't close. So yeah, we didn't really feel too much pressure to close right before we aired.
So when I mentioned when you guys committed to coming on the show, we sent out a bunch of stuff through our social media channels, and we got a ton of stuff back. You obviously were one of the favorite episodes. People were asking, and you guys covered a lot. And a lot of people asked the history, how did it start, and what brought him to the tank. So you took care of all that. So we got a lot of questions answered. But have you replayed yet? I think you guys already replayed, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say that's amazing. I mean,
it was completely unexpected too. I think the second time we may have had a week's notice. The third time was completely like serendipitous. I was just on Shopify. I saw, I'm accustomed to seeing or understanding how many people are viewing our website at one given time. And that number is just like exploding. I'm like, wait, what is happening? Like, this is very, this is abnormal for me to be seeing this kind of traffic to the website. So I'm on Instagram. I don't have cable. Yeah. So I stream everything. So I don't really know what's happening. I can't turn on the television and see what's happening. So I had just messaged someone who was following us on Instagram, like, hey, where'd you see us? And then they had mentioned that we were on TV on Shark Tank.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, this explains, the traffic.
That's so cool. So tell us a little bit about the first airing night. Did you have a viewing party? Were you guys, I mean, it's got to be really cool, but I know we're in a COVID environment when you guys aired, right? Weren't you?
It was just in the heat of it when we aired in April. So it was just getting crazy. So we had plans of doing the viewing party and all that, but it didn't work out because of the COVID. And also they had told us that we should probably be right by a computer because we're going to start getting a lot of messages we have to answer. And they were right. We were up pretty much all night answering messages.
Was an understatement.
And
tell us about it.
It took. Luckily, we both have girlfriends. They were down there helping us answer emails. We just and you're on the Facebook, you're on the Instagram, you're with the email, and just it was like a little workstation going on. We were trying to enjoy it, but I mean, it was a lot of work, and then we could kind of like breathe the next day and say, "Wow, that really happened!" Like, yes, it was
yeah. But even the momentum carried throughout the weekend, even into next week.
Yeah.
So there really wasn't a lag time. I mean, the day we aired, we didn't really go to sleep till 3 a.m. because we would air on the West Coast 3 hours later, and then we would stay up trying to dialogue with customers and some positive feedback, and people were really supportive. Yeah. We try to get to as many people as we can, but at that time we're only like 4 or 5 people deep. So, the bandwidth was really limited. But the interest, I mean,
a lot of it was women asking, "Hey, do you have women?" So, at the time we didn't, but we were, we
were fortunate enough to start taking pre-orders. Mm-hmm. So, the $30 deposit in April was just so that we can cover costs of manufacture. We weren't going to expect a customer, to purchase from us for full retail and then wait weeks and months for delivery. We didn't feel that was fair. So we just had to make sure that we were generating enough revenue that could at least cover our costs. So that's, in fact, I mean, without the pre-order, I'm not sure if we would have been in a position to deliver goods. Just cool. Because we didn't close with Daymond, so we didn't get the money. So we were just reinvesting earnings back into the business. Buying production, buying inventory, shipping it. We flew a container over, really about 1,500 pairs we flew over during the height of COVID. Just trying our best, to communicate with our customers, to let them know that, there was difficulties throughout the nation. We're all dealing with certain challenges, but, we're doing our best to deliver on a promise. So fortunately, we got over those hurdles. We're going to be doing about 12,000 pairs, I believe, before the end of the year, which is light years from what we did all of 2019. So the Shark Tank effect is real. It's a ripple effect, really. You experience the difference in every aspect of the business, from customer service to inventory constraints to revenue to press. I mean, there really isn't an area of the business that's not unaffected by broad media marketing. I mean, it's $1 million commercial, and fortunately we landed a deal, which even sweetens a pot. And then, looking back on it, it's probably a less than 1% chance of us getting on the show, leaving with the deal and getting aired. We're a part of a very exclusive fraternity, which we take very seriously. And, we're living a dream. And, we always encourage entrepreneurs to do the same. There's no such thing as overnight success. You got to put years into it. There's no such, you can't do it on your own. You have to build a really great team around you that has a diversified skill set. You don't want too many people that think like you and have a similar skill set. You need something that's very, very diverse, so that you can make sure you're covering all areas of the business without having to further extend or go outside of your comfort zone.
That's so awesome, guys. I mean, it's so cool to hear. Tell us everything. Tell us what's going on now. How's the product evolve? What's the future look like? Tell us what's new. Where can we go and check it out for all the people that need to buy, the 50 shoes or looks for their family? Tell us what we need to do.
Holiday. Christmas is right on the corner, so
it is.
So we made some minor improvements. We enhanced the EVA. We have some rubber segments on the bottom to increase traction. We improved the insole.
We got some silicone strips on the heel to keep that nice security and hold back of the heel.
Yeah.
We added some new colors. We added a dark navy blue. I
saw that. Yeah, I saw that. Midnight blue or whatever was it called?
Yeah, our Vanta Black is our far and away our most popular colorway. Gray was a close second, and there was a bit of a fall off with 3 and 4. So we just decided to replace that colorway because it didn't really have high sell-through. So we had kill the Maverick Blue and Rose Red and replace it with Ultra Right and Midnight Blue. Midnight Blue has really blown people away. I think it's really surpassed our expectations in terms of colorway and interest. So
I like the black and the midnight blue with the white sole.
Yeah,
that look is just killer.
Yeah, it's
pair
killer.
of jeans on that. I mean, that is solid.
That's our favorites too, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
we have a pair as well. We basically outfitted it for our first responders. We acknowledge their sacrifice. So it's a midnight blue colorway with a pull tab that reads "Love recognizes no boundaries," and the insole is a word cloud with words closely associated with the medical industry. So it's love, bravery, community. We're going to be running a campaign the first week of December. Essentially, we're going to send an email to our current customers. Those that have purchased a pair at full retail, $79 or $89, or even $99.95, you'll be eligible to purchase a pair for $49.95, and we'll absorb the cost of shipping. And we ask that you just ship it directly to a first responder of your choosing.
Wow, that's cool. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've also been going around to local hospitals and actually giving these pairs away to first responders. So I think right now we've done about 5 hospitals, and we're just looking to continue to do that and give back in any way we can during these tough times.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome. Folks, you got to get out to moves.co, MUVEZ.co. These guys are good guys. They built a great company, not just a product. They're just going to keep rolling and kicking butts. Ryan and Eric, thanks for being with me today. I really appreciate you sharing the journey. Continued success. Congratulations on your success to this point. And I hope we get to chat again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you again for having us. This was a great experience. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, please email us or follow us on Instagram. We'd love to communicate directly with customers. So
yeah, thanks so much, Nick.
Yeah,
all right, man. We'll be back with more What Would You Ask podcast in a second.